All right, guys, let's go back to basics. I sometimes get really advanced with these conversational hypnosis videos. Let's go back to the timeline of a conversational hypnosis session, more advanced conversational hypnosis session, to show you the difference or demarcate between what we do with ACH compared to more the traditional stuff, but also to keep you on track if you're first starting this and you're confused which step you need to use first. Let's go through a simple timeline, and this is for all the basic people out there that want to learn this from scratch, or maybe you've been doing this for a while and you just want to get back to basics. It always helps to know this timeline, okay? So first thing on a timeline of advanced conversation hypnosis session, guys, doesn't happen in the hypnosis session. I've talked about this so much. The strategy call, taking a payment and booking your client in, that is what we call 97% therapized. That's where all the heavy lifting starts. People think the therapy starts as soon as my client sits down and I investigate the problem. No, it actually starts from your social media to the strategy call, taking payments, booking your client in. This is what creates the motivation. It actually starts to create unconscious change at the social media level, at the strategy call level, and so on and so forth. Do not take a payment on the day your client shows up. Take it before. This adds to the motivation. If you've been to my Masters of Advanced Conversation Hypnosis, you know how important that motivation is. So that's the timeline of your ACH session, guys. That's number one. Now, let's say we've taken the payment, we booked them in, I did the call on a Monday, they've shown up on a Wednesday. How do I start the actual therapeutic part? This is how it starts. The session starts here. There is no suggestibility test. There is no telling your client to close their eyes. There's no deepener. There's no hypnosis. If you've been following us for a long time, follow me for a long time, you know we don't worry about the hypnosis. We start with the therapy, because the way we do therapy actually combines therapy and hypnosis at the same time. That's why it's so goddamn quick. So we don't separate those two things. It's not do all the hypnosis first and the therapy last. It's do the therapy and the hypnosis at the same time and allow the therapy and the hypnosis to create this change. So no suggestibility test, no eye closure, no deepness, no hypnosis. Where does it start, guys? It always starts with the hypnotic interview. This is the therapy and hypnosis combined. We know we start the hypnotic interview with what's the problem. I made many videos about this. Just go through our catalog, you'll be able to check those out. So it's therapy and hypnosis combined. It's the hypnotic interview to look for unconscious moments, unconscious payoffs, and emotions. Remember, everything your client tells you to a certain degree at the very start, when you ask them what the problem is, they're going to tell you what? They're going to tell you a symptom. They're lying to you. Remember, all your client can tell you is what's happening consciously. It's their best guess as to what their real problem is. Your job with the therapeutic, with the interview, the hypnotic interview, is to find out what the real things are. Where are they not lying? Where are the truths in all of this? And it's only going to be a small portion of the words that they give you. That's why it's so important. So we're actually investigating the problem. Now, how does the hypnosis get combined with this? Well, remember, every time you ask a client a question about their problem, where do they have to go to retrieve the information and get back to you? They have to go in the unconscious mind. Those words are not there until they need them. Those examples of their problem are not there until they have to tell you, because you've asked them a question about that. Okay, so therapy and hypnosis combined, it's like what we call a fractionation, okay? I don't put a client into hypnosis, then ask them questions. It defeats the purpose. Just because they're relaxed doesn't mean they're going to give me any better information. I want to do the therapy and the hypnosis combined. Now, on top of this, it also helps with the resistant clients. If your clients have been to a hypnotist before who went through the whole hypnosis and relax thing, what are you telling your client when you tell your client to close their eyes and relax? You're telling them, I'm about to start. And most clients may not be in the point where they want to start because they're nervous, they're confused, they don't know what's going on, they're scared even. So by doing the therapy first, they're thinking, wow, Scott's just asked me some nice questions. He's a nice person. He's actually listening to me, and bang, I've got them. I've got their unconscious and conscious attention, and I'm starting to create a byproduct of hypnosis from the therapy. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, if you need more information on this, guys, I've got so many videos on this, it'll explain it more in detail. So that's step one. It's really step two after the strategy call on that. Number two, when I'm doing the therapy, this therapy and hypnosis guide, the hypnotic interview, I'm collecting unconscious moments. As you see unconscious moments, follow them up with more questions about the topic that gave you the unconscious moment in the first place. So I might ask a question like, what's stopping you from quitting smoking? Pretty typical, not a why question, it's a pretty typical ACH question. And my client has to go into their unconscious mind, they pause for a couple of seconds, they retrieve this information that's quite interesting to them, and they say like, wow, I never thought of it like that before. I'm looking for that unconscious moment. Once I see that unconscious moment, I'm going to ask a question based on their response. Why? Because their response is unconscious. It's come from the unconscious. But I might also ask the same question, like, what's stopping you? And they say, well, I don't know. That's more conscious. So now I need to change the direction of my question. I need to maybe go to the left-hand side of that question, go to the right, go behind it. Just start up basically another conversation to find those unconscious moments. So what I'm saying here is I'm going to ask a question based on the unconscious response. If I don't get an unconscious response, I just ask any question. If I do get an unconscious response, I'm going to keep it on that topic, like on that vein. I'm going down that highway. We call it all roads lead to Rome. I'm sticking on that trajectory and on that road right there. Okay. So number one, do the hypnotic interview. Number two, I'm collecting unconscious moments. I'm going to collect as many as possible, because what happens when I start to collect enough, your client becomes quote unquote more hypnotized, they become more in trance. Then I might have to use the therapy, which is collapsing realities. Could be untying knots. It could be the emotional trance method, the ETM, if my client's very emotional. I've got a couple of things I'm going to use. What am I basically doing? I'm untying those knots. I'm collapsing all those emotions. I'm getting rid of that backwards thinking. I'm getting rid of that knotted up thinking that keeps them stuck in the problem. I'm releasing that so the client has a better view of life that is not encapsulated in the problem. Now, that's the therapy part. Number four, as your client starts to have these little breakthroughs, they collapse realities and go, wow, I never thought of like that. That's incredible. And they get emotional, the tears start coming out. I'm going to let them process. As trance take over, yes, emotions, they could be pausing. They could have shut their eyes minutes ago. I'm going to shut the hell up. Therapists are the worst, and I was too, so I'm putting myself in that category, the worst with over talking. They think once my client's in quote unquote trance or eyes are closed, I'm going to use all these suggestions like, you're amazing, you're a wonderful person, you're powerful, you can do this. I'm going to swear right here, but shut the fuck up. Once your client is in trance, think of it as the cake's in the oven, it's baking. You don't have to keep opening the door. Maybe you've got an oven you can see through, you can see it baking. Let the oven do its thing. In this case, let the unconscious mind do its thing. Every time you talk, you'll interrupt it. And there is no suggestion on the face of this earth, no matter who you were trained by, who you look up to, what your script says, that is more powerful, not even close to being minutely powerful to what their unconscious mind can do for them. Shut up. As trance takes over, let your client sit in that trance and process. Just keep them safe. Shut up. No suggestions. Stop talking. Every time you talk, it's like opening the oven and looking at the cake. Eventually, I guess the cake will collapse and it'll get ruined. Spend more time being quiet. If you've seen the demos and wonder why the demo subjects we're teaching our students, or even see me do a demo, wonder why I don't really talk a lot, it's because I'm watching that processing. They're processing. My job's done. There's nothing else I could say. All I'm going to say is just ruining it. Okay. Number five, once they come out of this processing, I'm going to do some testing because I want to find out, get some feedback, what's happened in that little trance, what happened, how you're feeling, whatever. And then if I find there's still some knots there, I might have to do another session. But I don't send them home and bring them back. We call these mini sessions. If I spend an hour with a client, I might get 15 mini sessions done. That's 15 knots I've untied, 15 breakthroughs I've had all in that 1 hour. It's ridiculous to think that therapists send their clients home, get them back, send them home, get them back because they've given them 15 sessions in a package. No, do mini sessions. Why do you want to do mini sessions? Again, you have to learn how to do this because my client's already in a place where all of those dominoes, let's think of dominoes as the problem, they're all going to get knocked down. Why would I send them home? Bring them back to start all over again? No, they're in the right place. Do a mini session after a mini session, get as many as possible. Do the testing, let the processing, do all the therapy, do collect the unconscious moment, do the interview each time you do a mini session. And I'm just going to keep going till there's no knots left. And there's no knots left because your client can't even think what's going on. They probably don't even remember their name, just a bit of tongue in cheek. It's not a suggestion that you have to get them to, to do that. But as far as they don't even know what the problem is, they can't even get to the problem. They can't even feel it. It's like their brain is just scrambled eggs at that point. That's, believe it or not, guys, when the best therapy starts. This is all quote unquote, as one of my students said, this is the foreplay. All the good stuff happens once they go home. Once they go to sleep, once they get on with their life, the mind keeps processing. I think of it like this. Your job as a therapist is to get the mind processing again. Remember, it's stuck. It's like stuck in mud. All the knots are there. What you've done is help break through all those knots, untied them all. Now a client will fill in all the gaps with all the good stuff because they're no longer getting sucked back into the problem. But I'm not sending them home each time, selling them a 15 pack. I'm doing all those mini sessions there. And again, that's why we charge so much. And that's why we get results based on the price. Okay, so number 5 is testing mini sessions. Start again if there's more knots. And then lastly, you want to send them home with some sleep tasking, do a demarcation, and the processing chat is super important, guys. I won't go through that here because that's a video in itself, but the processing chat is how it sets your clients up for the future. for the positive stuff to happen, for the problem to stay away, and also to never have to see you again as a therapist. Okay. So that's the timeline of conversation hypnosis, guys. If you want to see that in action, just go to one of our demos. We've probably got hundreds of demos now on YouTube. If not, you can come along to our July training, which is happening this year in July. There's a link below to check that out, guys, where we teach all of this stuff. We teach this entire timeline, give you all the demos and stuff. But that's back to basic, guys. That's the timeline of conversation hypnosis and the way that we do advanced conversation hypnosis. Hopefully that was helpful. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.